Hey everyone, it's Dr. Erica Person, and welcome to another episode of the Flex Audiology Show. Today we're going to talk about headphones, kids, and hearing health. How loud is too loud? But first, before we get started, if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, that super helps grow our channel, and I much appreciate it. So thank you. So yes, we are officially in that magical time where the kiddos are heading back to school. We're restocking the glue sticks, the pencils, the pouches. In fact, the kid supply list this year was overwhelmingly large. And then there's the headsets. So I have two kids, and one of the supply lists specifically asks for headsets, and just one of them. And then the other supply list actually asks for two headsets, but specifically earbuds. And so I just internally cringe because here's the thing, my audiology brain went full on cringe mode. With my daughter's headsets, I know for a fact that I can buy headsets that have limiters in them. And so that way, when she is listening to them in her little child brain, they all want to listen to it loud. So I can literally set a limit on these headphones and make sure that her hearing is protected while in school. But with earbuds are super convenient. They're small, they're cheap, and they ask for two. So my suspicion is that at that grade level, specifically we're talking third grade, at that grade level, they're probably going to break them, which is why they want us to have two sets of them. But we don't have volume limiters on those. And depending on the child's ear canal, even if it's set to be literally a low volume on the iPad or whatever they're going to be using, it can really be amplified in their little ear canals and create extra damage. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. When you're dealing with a 6 and 7, 8-year-old who have no concept of long-term hearing damage, the default is louder is better. So just be aware of that. So what is too loud? Really, any sounds over 85 decibels can start to cause permanent hearing damage. And most smartphones and tablets can crank it up to 100 to 110 decibels, especially with earbuds. So think of like 85 decibels as like a busy street. 100 decibels, that's like a motorcycle whizzing by. 110 is going to be like a rock concert or chainsaw. So if you've ever been to Riverbend, even if you're out in the lawn, it can get pretty aggressive out there. And I still have my kiddos wear hearing protection when we are even in that venue. And kids, they just don't like to turn it down. They don't want to hear any extraneous noise in the classroom. So they tend to really, really crank it, especially if they're sneaking in a video game or a math game that's really fun to them. So kind of my rule of thumb is that if I'm talking to my child and they have headsets on, they don't have to understand what I'm saying, but if they can't hear me, or if I can't say, hey, Cora, hey, Mason, and they at least stop and look at me, then the volume's too loud. And so they don't have to understand what I'm saying, but they have to know that I'm talking to them. And that's really a good rule of thumb for adults as well. I mean, I'm really focused right now on my kids because of the back to school angle. But generally for adults, it's a 60-60 rule. Keep your volume at 60% or less, and every 60 minutes, take a break. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to talk to the school. So I need to look at a couple things because I don't always want to be that parent. And every year when we get into the headset discussion, I do become that parent. But I need to find out I need to find out what kind of computer system they're going to be using these headphones with. Maybe if it is an iPad, I should be able to set up some type of safety limiter on that specific iPad. But since it's a school-generated one, I'm really going to have to look to that. And then I need to reach out and just say, hey, can I forego the headphones or the earbuds? I'm totally fine paying for two headsets that are pricier because it's still cheaper than hearing aids. It's still cheaper and less painful than dealing with a child with hearing loss. And hopefully by explaining my reasoning, they will give us an exemption. I don't know if it's an issue or not. So, hearing damage, it doesn't show up right away all the time. But once it does, it's permanent. And for little kiddos, you have your speech and language delays, really the social issues, problems with focusing and academic performance, all of that can really add up. And even for adults, headphone use is one of the sneakiest causes of noise-induced hearing loss, especially every time I'm out in public. I see adults with all these AirPods or something hanging out of their ear. They're constantly exposing themselves to noise in those ears and they're not taking breaks. So if you're one of those adults, take a break, go back to that 60-60 rule. So if you're a fellow parent or you're just someone who lives in earbuds, please consider this your friendly PSA. Protect your ears. You only get 2. And as of right now, we cannot regrow the hair cells in those ears. That's done to damage. That's 100% preventable. Okay. So until next time, be safe out there and have a great conversation with the children's teachers and teach them, be an advocate for your child in that environment. So hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys find your necessary school supplies, because if you're like me, you waited till the last minute and we're having a little bit of trouble finding a couple of the items on there. Thanks. Have a great day.